Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Al Muhammad, and today we have a relatively big paraclinoidal aneurysm of the right ICA, which we've treated with volumetric coils and a flow diverter. It was a 64 years old female patient, non-smoker. She has no arterial hypertension and the family history was negative, but she has occasional headaches. The maximal diameter of the aneurysm was 10 millimeters with a relatively wide neck, 6.5 millimeters. And for coiling, we've used only two volumetric coils, PC400 from Penumbra, and for flow diversion, we've used a Phenox P64 HPC coated 5 by 18 millimeters. The patient was prepared with a dual antiplatelet therapy, aspirin 100 milligrams once daily and prasugrel 10 milligrams once daily, beginning 5 days before the intervention. And we've tested the function of the dual antiplatelet therapy with Verify Now, which showed a very good function. And here we go. We push the long sheath NeuroMax with the select catheter into the aorta, configure the select catheter, and go inside the right common carotid artery. And now we need a roadmap to see the anatomy upwards. There is a kinking of the ICA, that's why we should be careful here, and we should push the NeuroMax long sheath only in the origin of the ICA. We remove the select catheter with the Terumo guiding wire and take our intermediate catheter, Sophia 5F, flush it, and push it inside the NeuroMax long sheath. The Sophia catheter is so soft that we can navigate without the need of the guiding wire. And now we need an overview to see the anatomy and the aneurysm. And here we see the aneurysm with the contrast agent swirling in the aneurysm sac. And now we need the 3D angiogram to see the anatomy and plan our working projection. And here we see the aneurysm. And now we can adjust our working position. We take the translucent option to see the neck of the aneurysm better. And now we adjust our working position, which we will use for the coiling as well as for the implantation of the flow diverter. We take this projection and adjust our working position. And now we need a 2D angiogram, which we will use as our roadmap. And here is our working position. And we still see the contrast metal swirling in the aneurysm sac. And now we take our microcatheter for the coiling. It's a PX Slim. It's a 25 microcatheter with the length of 150 centimeters, and push the microwire inside the microcatheter and shape the tip of the microwire and push both in the intermediate catheter Sophia 5F. And now we can start the navigation. We push the intermediate catheter a little bit distally to have a good basis, and now we push the microwire all along into the aneurysm sac and try to push the microcatheter inside the aneurysm sac, but as you can see, it's a very hard curve. That's why we couldn't do it. We push the microcatheter a little bit distally and pull it back and try it again, and as you can see, it doesn't work. That's why we make a loop with the microwire inside the aneurysm sac and then push the microcatheter inside the aneurysm sac, and now we are inside the aneurysm sac. We remove the microwire and take our first coil, and as mentioned, it's a volumetric coil PC400 complex standard 10 millimeters by 40 centimeters. And as we approach the aneurysm, we pull back the microcatheter a little bit to not injure the wall of the aneurysm and start the coiling. And now we've reached a very good basket. We continue coiling. And now we can detach the coil. It's a mechanical detachment device, and take our second coil. It's complex, soft, 10 millimeters by 30 centimeters. And we continue coiling and the basket holds this soft coil very well. And now we can detach this coil, and we are satisfied with the results of the coiling. We need a 2D angiogram, and as you can see, we have a dense coil package, but there is still a little bit aneurysm rest, and that's why we will implant a flow diverter along the aneurysm neck. And now we can remove the microcatheter with the help of the pusher of the last coil. We do it carefully so we don't dislocate any coils, and now we are outside of the aneurysm, and we can remove the PX limb microcatheter and take our other macrocatheter. It's a headway 21 by 165 centimeters, which we will use for the flow diverter implantation. We push the microwire inside the microcatheter and push them both into the intermediate catheter. And now we can navigate the way to the middle cerebral artery, and we navigate firstly with the microwire, and then we can push the microcatheter. And now we are inside the M2 segment, and we can push the microcatheter into the MCA. And now we can remove the microwire and take our flow diverter, and as mentioned, it is an HPC coated P64 5 by 18 millimeters. We flush it in the hub of the intermediate catheter, and then we can push the flow diverter inside the microcatheter. And now we can push the flow diverter all along the way through the microcatheter into the MCA, and we pull it back carefully, and when we reach the ICA, we can start unsheathing the flow diverter. And here we start unsheathing the flow diverter, but as you can see, it slipped a little bit back, so we resheath the flow diverter and put it a little bit distally from this position, and now we continue unsheathing. There is a little bit narrowing of the flow diverter in the middle. We can correct it with the microcatheter, and as you can see, it has opened well, and we push the microcatheter inside the MCA to have a stable position. And now we need a 2D angiogram to see the results, and as you can see, there is a little bit distance between the flow diverter and the wall of the ICA, which we will correct using the intermediate catheter Sophia 5F. We push the Sophia catheter carefully through the flow diverter, and as you can see, through this massage maneuver, we can reach a very better wall apposition of the flow diverter, and this distance has disappeared. And now we pull back the wall system carefully after reaching satisfying results and perform a 2D angiogram to see our end results of the intervention. And as you can see, there is a strong blood stasis into the aneurysm sac, and the flow diverter has opened well. And this is with the background. You can see that the wall apposition of the flow diverter is very good. And now we check our results from another angle, and as you can see, the flow diverter is well opened, and we need another projection for the proximal end of the flow diverter. And as you can see, the flow diverter is open very well. And here we have our results with the background, and we can see the flow diverter and the coil package very well. And now we need an overview to exclude complications. And as you can see, all vessels are patent, and the aneurysm is occluded very well with a strong blood stasis in the aneurysm sac. And thus we have reached the end of our intervention. As always, if you have any questions, you can put them down in the comments below. You can contact us per email too. Email addresses and further contact options are in the video description below. Thanks for watching. That was Al Muhammad. See you next time. Peace out.